Who stands to benefit from a manufactured energy crisis? In this episode, I'm going to address what is really behind Biden stopping U.S. oil pipelines. A lot of people are confused about this. I want to give you some clarity. My take, this is not a political agenda, but most people, when I ask them, would you prefer that I be honest or gentle? They say honest. And so you don't have to agree with me, but I'm going to give you my take on what I think is really behind President Biden's oil pipeline, stopping them and cutting them off. And I want you to be aware of some things that maybe you have not thought about. So my name's Doug Andrew, and I've been involved with economics now for nearly 5 decades. I began in 1974, and I've lived through several major recessions. And the Great Recession from 2000 to 2012. And I have empowered many people how to get through those tough times by taking ownership of their brighter future. And so as I've sat back and watched many leaders of our country have fiscal and monetary policy, I sort of looked behind the curtain, so to speak, at some of the hidden agendas. So I want to share with you my take on what is behind Biden stopping some of these U.S. oil pipelines, and why would you want to go from energy independence to creating energy dependence again? A lot of people, they just go, well, I don't know, except that he's an environmentalist. He's out for the planet. Well, I think it's deeper than that. So let me start out and ask, why would a politician want to move America, for example, from energy independence, which President Trump, whether you agreed with him or liked his personality or not, he actually achieved in less than 4 years energy independence. And I've had many experts in the field of energy state that we have, with current oil wells in America, a 204-year supply of oil at our current oil consumption rate. And that's without drilling further wells where we know oil exists. So all President Trump did was say, hey, we have enough oil reserves here that are more than all of the Middle East combined. So if we were already postured for that and gas prices were low, why in the world would a president want to change that and stop the oil pipeline and then look at doing another one and have us rely again on Middle Eastern oil? I mean, hello? Why would you do that? Because haven't you seen the price of gasoline go up at least 50%? Well, yes. Well, who does that benefit? Well, there are special interest groups and those who actually pay off politicians. And if you don't understand this, you've got your head in the sand. And so there are certain organizations worldwide that will actually pay in order to create the demand for their oil and force oil prices back up again so that they can flourish. And the best way to do that is cap off the oil wells here in America and use the excuse, well, we're saving the environment. We've got to switch and change to a different form of energy. Well, okay, yes, but then why are you forcing us to use oil and burn it from these other countries? And they're not limiting this. You look at China, and they're increasing their coal plants. And John Kerry says he wants to eliminate coal as an energy source within the next decade. Well, what are we going to use? Now, let me just take a side trip here for a moment and share with you, we do not have a dearth of energy. Now, you're going to say, really? Yeah, I was very active back in the 1980s during the energy crisis under the Carter years. And I remember the lines at gas stations. I had to put an extra 20-gallon tank in my Jeep Wagoneer because I was going to California. I needed to get to California and back without having to fill up because I would be in lines for hours, maybe even wait for a day or two to fill up my tank. So before I share with you why there's an abundance of energy, if this is resonating with you, And you can think of somebody you'd like to share this video with. Be sure to share, post a comment, click like, but subscribe to this three-dimensional wealth channel, because I have over 500 educational YouTube videos about all kinds of topics, about how to live a balanced, abundant life. But I post a new educational video almost on a daily basis. And so click on the little bell and you'll be notified every time I do. But stay with me to the end, because I want to gift you a copy of one of my best-selling books to help you understand what I'm talking about even at a deeper level. Let's talk about this energy abundance. Now, Buckminster Fuller was one of the most abundant-minded scientists on the planet. And he taught that we have an abundance of energy. And frankly, way back when, petroleum, oil, was just a nuisance that got camels' hoofs, filthy. Until somebody realized you can take that dirty crude oil and you can refine it and you can create combustible fuels, fossil fuels, that then you can create a combustible engine, you can heat homes and so forth. And these, of course, are called fossil fuels. And yeah, what a lot of people don't understand is you have the carbon particulates that go out, and people say, "Ooh, that's pollution." Well, it's actually been proven that the carbon settles back down into the earth, and that the earth actually has gotten greener as a direct result of burning fossil fuels, because our Creator says, everything's going to cycle back through. And as you do that, that actually encourages vegetation. The vegetation grows up, it dies, it goes down, it creates the oil. And it's all part of the way our Creator invented the earth in the first place, okay? And so Buckminster Fuller proved that. But it's not just oil. I mean, yeah, we've got to be responsible and accountable as far as controlling pollution, but we are bathed every day with sun rays that provide 10,000 times more energy than what we need to live on. We just have to figure out how to harness that, and we've barely scratched the surface with solar energy. You have wind, but can I tell you, I was in a lab one day a few years ago, and they showed me in this lab a postage stamp size wafer that had the ability to line up electrons in an atom, sort of like negative to positive, to create milliamps. This is energy that's inherent in every single atom that our Creator put in there. So it's like a miniature generator instead of a battery. You have to change your thinking. And this postage stamp size wafer, they figure, could power not only hearing aids or a pacemaker forever, but they'll have a quarter size one that will power a cell phone forever. All you have to do is turn it off for 17 seconds a day, and the electrons realign themselves, and it's ready to go for another 24 hours. You don't have to plug it into anything. It's a miniature generator. And they say the future of electric cars will be you'll drive 300 miles, you'll stop at an In-N-Out burger, you'll turn off your engine, it will realign itself in about 17 minutes, and you'll get in your car and you'll be ready for another 300 miles. No emissions, anything, but it's all part of the energy that's inherent in every single atom. They're called electrons. See, all we need to do is, instead of these political agendas, because we have these huge power grids and power companies and this infrastructure, and so they can't disturb that, because there's all of this tax dollars and these special interest groups, and there's OPEC, and because of all of these hidden agendas, government tries to control things and manufacture energy crises that cause us to have to pay more and more for this and that and the other, and they use the excuse, well, we've got to do this. We've got to be environmentally responsible and so forth. And oh my heavens, if we would just use the ingenuity and the innovation we already have, we would have an abundance of energy forever. I assure you, we will learn this someday. But frankly, we've got to get the politicians out of the way and the special interest groups, okay? I'm just being honest. So what you have to begin to realize is, okay, who's really benefiting? Pull back the curtain and understand what is really the hidden agenda behind stopping the oil from being piped. Because we're still using oil and we're paying more for it, and we're paying some of our enemies for it, but are they really enemies if they're padding the pockets of some of the politicians in America? I really wonder. But truth be known, there is an abundance of energy. And I think we'll all realize that someday in the future, and really who's in control. So I would suggest that as you ponder over what I've been talking about, that you understand really what we have in this wonderful world. Yes, we should be responsible and accountable. We should try to, pollution, but there are all kinds of ways that we can have energy without having to spend 2 and 3 and 4 times for a gallon of gasoline, because their messages are coming out both sides of their mouth. Oh, that's evil, but we're going to make you raise the price of that, but then you can do this, or we're going to force you to do that. And it's all in an effort, I think, to control the goods and services and the pricing. And the more energy we have, the price will go down. And sometimes they don't want to see that happen because of maybe agendas that provide income or money for them. I'll stop there, but listen, if this is resonating with you, you want to learn more about how to be self-reliant and how to take ownership of your brighter future and teach that to your kids and grandkids, start out by reading this book, Entitlement, Abolition, How to Abolish Entitlement Mindset. And if you contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling, I'll pay for the book and fire out a copy to you. So go to entitlementabolitionbook.com and I'll pay for the book and fire it out. There's also options there if you want to listen and learn, watch and learn. But there's also a lot of different educational webinars and virtual events that we do that you can get a discount and register for. One of my favorites is called Retire by Design. And in that, you'll learn about this concept woven in with how to optimize your financial assets and how to not outlive your money. So here's to your brighter future. Claim your free copy, and we'll see you on the other side.